Okay, so this story is how I got ISS on the last day of school, which is pretty retarded if you think about it. The way it happened was is that my friend decided to bring poppets to school, like those little things you throw on the floor and they explode like pew. And what happened was we were playing with them, just having fun, and the principal, not the principal, the counselor was like, "Okay, who brought these to school?" And nobody decided to speak. And she calls me, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And she was like, "Oh, come with me to ISS." And I was like, "Oh." And then the principal gets me, and I was like, "Oh, great, not her." And one thing about this principal is that she hated my guts. Cause earlier in that year, I gotten a bunch more ISSs. I think about 15 or so, and she was pretty much fed up with me. And the facial expression on her face was, you know that smiling scene from The Grinch? Yeah, that's what she looked like. And she was like, "Oh, what did you do this time?" And I said it wasn't me, and she didn't believe me. And I told her everything, and then she called my friend down and another person, and we ended up getting ISS. And I felt I had to do like an exam that day, but I got it done, and I ended up falling asleep during ISS. And later that day, some kid was making noise in ISS room. It was a different kid from our group, and me and my friends ended up getting in trouble because of that kid, and that kid got let out early because he said it was us, and we were trying to fight it, but she didn't believe us, and that's when I almost snapped. I didn't snap because I would have probably gotten OSS and had it transferred to high school, I didn't want that, but I was quiet and fell asleep again, and the next thing I know, it's 350. It's 3:05, and I'm like, that this wasn't even a punishment. And I just ended up waking up and started playing with more poppers. And then when 3:10 hit, I ran out the room, and I just threw the whole pack at my principal's window, because she had a window on the side of the school, and I just got the whole pack and was like, I threw it, and it was just a giant explosion of fun, good. And I ended up walking home because I was bored, and me and two friends named Lucas and Josiah, we were bored, and we started ding dong ditching some people. And Josiah ends up doing one of them, and we end up sprinting because the dude, no joke, chased after us, ran back to his house, got into his car, and followed us around his neighborhood. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm fast, but I'm lazy at the same time. So I was like, okay, it's not really gonna bother me. Whatever happens, happens. And they end up going to the woods, and I end up speaking to the guy who was like, if you end up doing this again, you could end up getting shot. And I wasn't paying attention, of course, because it was the last day of school. I was excited to get home and play video games and sleep in. And he said, "What are your names and what are your phone numbers?" And I gave him some whack ass names. I think my name was Shaquiqui, and I gave my friend's name some fake name. I don't remember them. And Shaquiqui was fake, by the way. I don't remember the name, so I was just trying to give some dramatic effect. But we ended up walking away, and he gave me his card, and I ended up throwing his card in the woods, or was it? I don't remember if I threw it back at him, or threw it in the woods. But either way, he said to tell our parents to call him, and we didn't do it. Of course, we didn't do it because we're teenagers and we don't feel like getting in trouble. So we didn't do it. We walked home, had a good time, had fun, and nothing really happened. Oh, and it was. This is another story, but anyway, yeah, we just got home, didn't do anything for the rest of the day. Probably, I think we hung out. JoJo had but JoJo had a party, and he's the one friend who knocked on the door and ended up getting us almost shot. But anyway, he had a party, and it was fun. We shot it. We played Pretend Six Siege, which we're teenagers, and it's kind of childish to do that, but we don't care. And it was fun because he had like inflatables and water and stuff and popsicles. Popsicles. I love popsicles. But yeah, everything ended up being fine. We didn't call the dude. I didn't technically serve my punishment for ISS because I fell asleep for the majority of the time. And I ended up getting back at my teacher by throwing a bunch of poppers at her and sprinting. So yeah, the last day of school was pretty fun. And it was like, yee. But anyway, that's the story. And subscribe if you want to. I really don't care if you do or don't, because that's your decision. But, yeah, if you like the story, be sure to smash that like button. Smash it. You don't have to, but it would be gladly appreciated if you do. Like and subscribe, pib. And I'll see you later next time or something.